Okay, I want to welcome all four of you guys to the stage here for Congressional District 9. One thing I can say is I believe that any one of you four would do a much better job than Darren Soto. And we'll go ahead and do a brief introduction. We'll start on this side of the room with Mr. Olson. 1 minute.
Okay. Folks, my name is Bill Olson. I want to tell you a little bit about what motivated me to join this race. About 15 months ago, I was working for Walt Disney at a Walt Disney World. I was a Jungle Cruise skipper, by the way. If you've ever had me out there, by the way, my name is Bill, and I'm your Jungle Cruise skipper. Okay? But I also worked over at the Hall of Presidents. Okay? And I would go in there and introduce the Hall of Presidents, I don't know what, half a dozen to a dozen times a day. And I would sit there and I would watch the audio animatronic Donald Trump do his oath of office. And after I would do that over and over again, it reminded me of the oath that I took, well, almost 40 years ago now, for my first enlistment in the United States Army. That oath was to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And that's what I'm here to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Mr. Christopher Wright.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad I was able to make it. Some of you may know that I'm an active duty member of the Florida National Guard, and I was actually in Tallahassee for the last week because of the pending storm and also helping out with the COVID response. And I know a minute's not a lot of time, so I will direct you to the website, ChristopherWrightForCongress.com, to get a full bio on me. But I wanted to take this minute and let you know that I am grateful for my opportunity to serve, not just my state, but my country. I can tell you my time up at the State Emergency Operations Center gave me a real appreciation for the work that those guys do and the love that they have for our state, for our country, and for the people. And I actually had an opportunity to chat for a few minutes with the governor while I was up there, and he was very optimistic about the state of our state and our ability to be able to get back to normal in the very near future. And so I welcome this opportunity to be able to stand before you and talk to you a little bit about who I am and what I represent. And if you haven't had a chance to see a complete 45-minute debate, well, I would invite you to check out the website and view that. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Sergio Ortiz.
Reclaiming my time. My name is Sergio Ortiz. Faith, Family, and Freedom is the motto of my campaign. I'm an ordained minister. I have 9 grandkids, and I'm a father of 3. One of the things that always guides me says that without faith, it's impossible to please God, and that's one of the models in my campaign. Like I said, I'm an ordained minister. I'm not very eloquent, but I have a passion to help you. So, born in Puerto Rico, raised over there, been here in the United States for a long time. Thank you for having me here. Have a blessed day.
Okay, well, thank you. Mr. Jose Castillo.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jose Castillo. One thing you need to know about Florida's District 9 is that we've lost to Democrats. We lost in 2012, we lost in 2014, we lost in 2016, we lost in 2018. We had great candidates. We had Todd Long, Carol Platt, and Mr. Wayne Lemniski. Why did we lose? There's 227,000 Democrats to 155,000 Republicans. Mathematically, to win, we need some of those votes. We need a candidate with broad-based appeal. Our district is the theme park capital of the world. I worked my entire career in the hospitality industry at Disney. Also, our district is almost 40% Hispanic voters. They don't show up in the primary. They will show up in the general election. And if we don't have a Hispanic candidate, they will vote for Darren Soto. I'm a Republican. I want our congressman to be a Republican, and that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'll go ahead and ask the first question, but it's actually going to be several questions. I'm going to direct these to all of you. Raise your right hand if you support the Second Amendment. Raise your right hand if you're pro-life. Raise your right hand if you believe in a strong military. Raise your right hand if you support tax cuts. Okay, I guess we'll start this question with Jose. Since you guys believe the same things on most of the issues, Jose, what differentiates you from the other three gentlemen on the stage?
Republican standpoint, what differentiates me, if you look at all our debates, I would say I'm the most constitutional conservative. We all love this country. We're all Republican. We kind of have similar issues. We have different priorities. I'm the most constitutional conservative in this race. But I'll say this, the main thing that differentiates me from them is that I'm the only one that can actually win this race. You know, we could all be pro-life. Maybe one of us is more religious. Maybe one of us has more money in our campaign account. But we won't be able to win. It won't matter if you're most religious. You know what? We're not going to have a pro-life candidate if Darren Soto wins this election. So I told you, this is the theme park capital of the world. The people that work in the theme parks, in the hotels, the restaurants, the attractions, actually the people that are unemployed right now, and just so you know, I include myself because I work for the Walt Disney Company. I'm in management. I'm unemployed. I understand their struggle. Come November, I'm going to ask for their vote. And they're going to look at me and they're going to know that I'm one of them. They will trust me. They will give me their vote. Furthermore, like I told you, our district is heavily Hispanic. Listen, in our primary, only 23% of the population is Hispanic for Republicans. They're not going to have a big impact on our election here in the primary. But they will show up in the general election. And in the past, I told you, we've had great candidates. We had Todd Long, Carol Platt, Wayne Lemniski, great candidates. Mr. Lemniski, he's a veteran. He's an engineer, smart. He's a business owner. He should have been my congressman. But we lost because identity politics plays a major role in elections. I come from the business world, and I'm able to see that. You see, some of my opponents tell me when I talk about identity politics, they say you sound like a Democrat. But the fact of the matter is, from a business perspective, you have to look at the facts and adjust. And if you don't look at them, you lose. And that's why we lost in 2012, 2014, 2016, 2018. But here I am in front of you asking for your vote. I would be honored to have your vote. If you vote for Jose Castillo on August, in November, we will fire Darren Soto. You can take that to the bank. Thank you.
Sergio, the same question.
Listen, what sets me apart? What makes you think about Ortiz when you're looking for a congressman? I have children that I have to take care of. I've been a business owner. I know the struggles that we have. I've worked at churches, so I know the heart of the people. We know that the Hispanic vote is mostly religious people who believe in God. What can I do for that? I can go toe-to-toe with Darren Soto. I might not be the best outspoken, but I know the heart of the people. And once they feel you and they understand where you're going, they will follow you because they're looking for a leader. They're looking for somebody who has the same morals, the same standards, the same beliefs that they have. I don't have a lacked out in morals like a gentleman over here explained to me once. But I know one thing. My name is Sergio. My name is servant. It means that in Greek. So I am a servant to the people, and I can stand there and understand what they're looking for. I am able to draw out from within them what we need to change this district from blue to red. I have the capacity, the will, the want with all. I got relationships with a lot of churches who are pivotal because churches move the people to vote. And that's their job. And people out there will listen to you better when they understand what you're saying and you can speak from the heart. I can go to them and explain, especially the Puerto Rican community where I live there. I understand where they come from. So I'm able to draw from them so that they can move over to this side and be part of a productive community. What separates me from them? Like I always tell them, I'm the pretty one. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio. Chris, same question.
We get asked this question a lot, and I think it's a legitimate one. And just like the others have pointed out, policy-wise, there's really not much difference between myself and the other guys standing on the stage. But one thing that does separate us very much, and I think is very much a topic of discussion, or at least should be, is our work experience, our education, our ability to be able to stand in front of people, to be able to connect with them and deliver a cogent message, to be able to take the idea that conservatism and the policies that conservatives espouse raises everybody up from where they are to where they want to be. It gives them the opportunity to be equal in opportunity, not necessarily outcome, but in opportunity. So you've got to be able to take that message and deliver it in such a way that people can see your vision for where you want not just the district, but the nation to go, adopt that as theirs, and then help you carry it forward. My work experience as an attorney has trained me to do exactly that. I'm a professional advocate. That's what we do. I spent years of my life studying the law. I spent more of my life in professional practice learning how to take a message for my client and carrying it forward to either a jury or to a judge or even in a boardroom and negotiating a contract. That's what we do. We take messages, we create messages, we adopt them, and we help take that to somebody else and convince them that we're right. We need somebody who's able to do that, because I tell you, Darren can do it. Darren's a polished politician. He's a lawyer. He's very good at it. And we need to take somebody who's got the same education, the same experience and training that he does, and put that person on the stage next to him, because that person is going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Darren. That's where you have to fight Darren. It's his ideas, it's his voting record that's going to be on trial this election, not his last name. His last name is not going to get him the vote. It's going to be because he does a better job getting his message out. And yeah, we're in an uphill battle, because our district is largely Democrat, but that doesn't mean we can't win, especially with everything that's going on right now. Law and order is very much a conservative message, and a lot of people are paying attention to that, even on the Democratic side, especially our independent brethren. Something else I'll let you know, how else can you judge a candidate? What differentiates is by what we've done so far. A few weeks ago, I hosted a dinner for 3 Puerto Rican car clubs who helped us with a parade. And they all came out. There might have been 30 people in a room. By the end of the night, all but 2 had changed their registration from Democrat to Republican. I know I can make that connection because I've already done it. And all I need to do is implement it on a grander scale. I know the message resonates because I've already done it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill.
So there's 3 things that we need to do in order to beat Darren Soto. And in order to differentiate ourselves, all things being equal, we need to have the issues. I think we have the issues. As Republicans, we have that common sense conservative vision on how things need to be. Then you have to be able to articulate it. And then you have to be able to, most importantly, if not the most important, but certainly important, is that you have to be electable. So let's talk about that. Here's the question that we get all the time. And it's not a question that I like to speak a lot about because, quite frankly, it's that dirty little secret that we always keep in the background is how are we going to beat Darren Soto? And that's going to take resources. Now, we talked about, the fellas talked about the people that we had running like Wayne the last two times. You're actually absolutely correct. Wayne was an excellent candidate. But unfortunately, if you look at Wayne's FEC reports, you'll see that he wasn't able to get on the same footing financially with Darren Soto. He wasn't able to get that information out. He was not able to use media, radios. You probably heard me on the radio around here, okay? We had the resources to do that. You have to have resources to be able to get on mass media like Facebook, being able to send ads out to all sorts of people, no matter what color of their skin. You have to be able to do that. You have to be able to send out, I've sent out thousands of cards to people to get that name recognition so that they could see who I am. Okay? So those things, it's one thing to be able to stand in front of folks here like 50 or 60 people, but we have to be able to do more than that. You have to be able to do this, but you also have to be able to use all of that multimedia out there, and you have to have the resources. Now, I've raised over $225,000 so far. Now, don't ask me how it happened, because it's just hard work. And it just seems as if the people have responded to my message. Now, some of the guys say that it costs an awful lot of money in order to be able to make that money. And that's true. So we have to understand that there are several things that we have to do in order to be able to be electable. Thank you.
We'll continue in a rotation. Gentlemen, with today's current events, a lot of people, just Joe and Jane Lunchbox on Main Street, are rattled. You know, they're being told, wear a mask, don't leave the house, keep your kids in the basement, keep Uncle Joe in the basement. Well, our president is an optimist, and we've seen this. He's the cheerleader for the country. And as Republicans, we support that. Please explain what you tell voters to contrast yourself with Mr. Soto, who is known to be an automatic vote for Nancy Pelosi, as they try and push their radical ideas down our throats. We're going to rotate. We started Jose last time. Start with Sergio this time and rotate around. Explain your views on how do you contrast yourself to the voter when the voters are just scared out of their wits. Some of them are.
A lot of people are living in fear. They're afraid because of the misinformation that is being poured out. If you take your time to explain to them the complexities and the simplicity of an organism that is smaller than the space that is used in the mask to protect you, and you explain to them that it's a fallacy completely, that the masks, they don't work. It has been proven. If you make your research, it's easy. So you explain to them, yes, if you feel comfortable, go for it. Wear your mask. Be comfortable. This is the land where you have the opportunity to do what you want to do. But I can always stand there and say, listen, I don't have a spirit of fear. I have a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. So with that sound mind, I can stand and tell them, listen, don't be afraid. God got this. It's bigger than all of us. And we have to stand firm in what we believe. That's what faith is, the first word that comes out of my motto. Because we have to have the faith to move out there and move mountains and tell people, do not be afraid. Don't fear. Don't go out there in fear all the time, because the devil wants you to be a fear. And that's exactly what I tell them. I'm an ordained minister, and you know what? I tell them how it is. If you don't feel safe, fine, wear your mask. And they will ask me, why don't I wear my mask? Because the God that's in me is powerful than all the devils that wants to stop you from moving forward. Yes, you talk to the clients depending on the level of spirituality, because not all of them believe in God. But I can go back in biology when I went to college and I have my anatomy and physiology, and I can explain to them how organism works, how a simple phospholipid membrane will affect your life, and that you will walk around with a mask thinking that you're fully protected. That's a fallacy. So once I explain to them the numbers, the size, the organism, the mechanism, when I was going for pre-med, and they understand that, then you can find a way of living with it. And the only thing that we could do, and I always tell them, wash your hands and don't sneeze in your hand. And if you feel a little bit sick, stay home. Thank you.
Yes.
So I agree that our president's an optimist, but I think he's got good reason to be. What you tell the people in our district when they express their concerns about everything that's going on with coronavirus is actually one of the things that I learned in trial advocacy is you start asking questions. Some of you guys might have experience trying to convince somebody to move from their position, and it's much harder when you argue with somebody and you say, no, you're wrong, no, you're wrong. Here's the real facts, and they're going to throw facts back at you. But when you start asking questions, you make them evaluate their own position. Now, you have to be armed with the facts in order to be able to effectively do that. But you start asking people, well, what would I tell you, or what would you say, rather, if I told you that the overall mortality rate is actually going down as cases are going up? What does that say? And you help them come to the conclusion on their own. That's how you help them adopt your position as theirs. You're never going to get anywhere standing in front of somebody and arguing with them face to face. It doesn't work. You have to be able to be strategic in how you ask those questions. Now, I think the president is right to be optimistic. When I met with the governor this past week, he was optimistic about the state of the state and where we're going with COVID and the long-term effect that it's going to have on the state. So having those conversations with our independent friends and even with some of our Democrat friends is how we're going to win the election. And it's not just going to be limited to COVID, but other subjects as well. But the best way to effectively deliver that message is to ask poignant questions. And it's one of the tricks we learned in law school. It's how you help sway juries to your position too. See, all of these things that I learned in law school and I've exercised throughout my professional career are tools that I have to help convince people that a conservative message is the way that we need to go with this country, not just in the district, but the country as a whole. And those are the tools that I'm offering to the people of this district to be able to help deliver that message. So not only is that how you have to do it, but that's why you have to do it. Thank you.
Folks, we need to get the government out of the way. The government, even local governments, have all around the country have taken their own little tyrants. They've made their own little kingdoms and their little fiefdoms. And we need to get the message out to the people, especially here in Central Florida, but that's not the way we do it here. We allow people to decide what they're doing. Now, as far as the coronavirus and the mask, that thing goes back and forth. This week, the WHO says that you're not doing any good by wearing a mask. But then these other people say that that you need to wear a mask. Who knows? Okay? If you go into a store, if it's Publix or Walmart, and they decide that you have to wear a mask, you decide. You have free will. You can decide whether or not you want to wear that mask. And if you don't want to wear it, then you don't shop at that place. If you have a private property, you can do whatever it is that you want to do with your private property. Now, as far as public spaces, of course, be smart. Don't get right up next to someone and start coughing in their face. That's just common courtesy. We need to just remember that we're humans and we sometimes make mistakes. And there are things that happen while we're out and about. We just need to make sure that we remember that there is freedom here in the United States of America. We have the ability to be free. And we cannot allow these local people, and sometimes around the country it's happening, we cannot allow them to, number one, let's say our children go into school. They need to get back to school. They need to get back to school. And thankfully, our governor is not one of those that is trying to take over. and he's allowing the schools to reopen. We have to do it smart, though, okay? We do have to do it smart. But we've got money, the president has said, and the Congress has set money up in order to be able to make the school safer for the kids, and I think that's an important thing. And we've got another stimulus package that if the Democrats will allow it to move forward, if they will negotiate at least a little bit, we'll be able to get that passed also. Thank you.
Hello, thank you. See, the problem we're having in our country is that every time there's a national tragedy, every time there's a crisis, people want to look to the left for big government for answers. Instead, we should be looking to the right. What does the Constitution say? Let me give you an example. We have police will kill an innocent civilian. Let's defund the police. What does the Constitution say? Well, we the people, we elect our sheriff at the local level. Congress has no say in that. What else? We have coronavirus. What does the government say? You have to wear a mask. You have to close your business. I believe there's no government, not federal, not state, not local, that has the authority to tell you when you should open and close your business or to tell you to wear a mask. What else? We have, let's say, a mass shooting. What do they say? Let's take away your guns. What does the Constitution say? We have a Second Amendment. We have a God-given right to defend ourselves, our property, and our liberty. So what we need is we need to elect elected officials that have the backbone to stand up for our Constitution. But not only that, they need to be cheerleaders. They need to be cheerleaders for freedom and for liberty. Because we just talked about this. We said that people are afraid to leave their homes. But really, people are afraid to speak up. I run into so many people on the campaign trail that tell me, I'm going to vote for President Trump, but I don't want my family to know. I run into so many events. I go, there's a lot of young people. And they tell me, I wish I could like your page, but I don't want to get in trouble at work. So we need to speak up. And we need to elect elected officials that are going to protect the Constitution and be that voice. That's what I intend to do in Congress. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to probably draw this to a close because of the time constraints. But I have one last question for y'all before you give your closing statements. On August the 19th, how many of you will give your word to all of us at the Republican Party that you will support the winner of the primary? Okay, thank you very much. And for closing statements, Mr. Wright, you're next in line. Thank you.
I had no problem giving that promise just because I know that, Mark, you're right, any person on this stage would do a better job than Darren Soto. I know we have to keep this brief, so I'm not going to give you a recap of the entire campaign or even my bio, but to say this, I'm a soldier, and I understand that when you're going into battle, and this is a battle, it's a battle of ideas, but I'm a soldier, and you take the best weapon you've got available to you, and the tools and the resources that we're going to need to be able to take on Darren Soto's message are those that I've spent my entire professional career developing. And I'm offering the people of this district an opportunity to take their lawyer into their battle. I'm going to be your attorney. I'm going to go to Washington. I will advocate for you because that's what I do. That's what I've been trained to do. It's what I'm good at. Thank you.
Folks, I too am a soldier. I spent 27 years in the United States Army. I spent time in Afghanistan with the Joint Special Operations Command, with the folks in SEAL Team 6 working to try and find Osama bin Laden back in the late 2000s. This is a battle. We have to battle first among our friends. But then we have to really start the fight against Darren Soto. We have to be able to take it to him. And I believe that I have the experience in order to do that. Thank you.
So two of my opponents are soldiers, and I know Mr. Sergio Ortiz, I consider you a soldier for our Lord Jesus Christ. But I will say this, this primary, any of my opponents, they could win the battle in the primary. They will never win the war in the general election against Darren Soto, and that's why I'm here. And I know we're in Lakeland, it's a little bit away from our district, so this is what I have to say to you. If you are in my district, I would be honored to have your vote. If you're not in my district, trust me, when I win this election and I win the general election, I will go to Congress, and if you believe that the Constitution is the law of the land, if you believe that we have a God-given right to defend ourselves, our property, and our liberty, if you believe that America should always come first, I will go to Congress, and I will be voting for you. Thank you.
You might be wondering why I'm standing up next to this gentleman. I believe that a moment like now deserves for us to stand firm in where we're at. No matter the circumstances, how the wind and the storms is blowing, we have to stand firm in what we believe and act accordingly. And I believe that this nation is going to move forward, but we need to have people in the authorities to make it right. So I'm asking all of you, first pray for the president. He needs our prayers. Pray for this nation and keep praying diligently. I will be there for you. I will win this race, and I will defeat Darren Soto at his own game. I might not be articulate or perfect, but I can beat him because I know the people, I know how to draw them out and have a message that they will respond. May the God of all mercy go with you. Thank you for this time and opportunity.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank all four of our great candidates for Congressional District 9. Thank you for coming out today. And we'll have a brief 5-minute recess while the stage is being changed.
Okay, thanks a lot, CD9 candidates. And we'll give it, Robert, if you will give me 3 minutes and hold up the yellow sign, we will get started with our next forum, which is the